Good afternoon. Welcome to Evolve Through God. My name is Angela Goodman, and I am bringing you guys one of the most amazing humans on the planet. And I can seriously, I cannot wait for her to tell her story so that you can hear her testimony. She is a powerful force, and I'm just really excited to know her for the last 3.5 years of my life. And I've been blessed with her friendship for that long. And so, Dawn Thompson, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. You are right back at you. Everything that you just said about me, I feel that tenfold for you.
Yeah, I tell you, it's so funny how energy works, right? Because the first time that we connected with each other 3.5 years ago, like I automatically felt connected to you. And I know that life has been challenging for both of us in the last 3.5 years, and it's been blessed and it's been graced also. But just knowing that anytime I reach out to you and I'm like, I just want to tell you I love you and how are you doing? And like you're right there. You're right there. And you're just such a bright light in this world. And I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
same to you. I remember when I was driving back from a trip. I can't remember where I was. I was thinking about it this morning.
Hmm.
Where in the world was I coming back? I don't know. I was like all over the place back then. Um, and I remember I was in Arte and I remember you were putting together an event.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't know who this woman is, but I'm going to need to know her. Little did I know that you would end up being like a great friend. And I just saw so much greatness in you. I was like, I have to know this woman. So,
No.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate that so much. And I don't want to take too much time. I know our time today is going to go by super fast. I know that this conversation is going to hit the hearts of the people out there. So I don't want to take any more time away from you sharing your relationship with God. And I know a little bit about your story and some of the hardships and things that you've lived through, but I don't know everything. So I'm excited to learn like how your relationship with God actually started and what it's looked like since.
So I remember being a kid, my dad's mother was a secretary at a church, and she would take me on if she had that weekend with me.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember we used to have to sit there, and everybody had to. They were Baptist, Southern Baptist. They would
Hmm.
fill out their little cards, and we'd have to sit. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's get out of here. Um, but I didn't hear much about God at home. My mom and dad divorced when I was 5, and he moved away. I'm in Texas. He moved away to Dallas, Texas, and I didn't see much of him at all. And my mom ended up marrying an alcoholic. So that was not on the table talking about God. So, like I said, I really only got God if I went to my Mimi's house.
Hmm.
And I knew who he was. I didn't really, during that time, I didn't accept him into my heart. But my mom ended up finding God when I was around probably 17, 18. And at that
Okay.
point, I was starting to run pretty wild. And she was also going to a Baptist church. And I remember just to kind of please her, I ended up getting baptized, and kind of was
At 17 or 18?
around 17, 18
Okay.
years.
Okay.
And then I ended up backlashing and ran wild. I got on drugs, did all the things, I just wanted to touch. I like to say I used to be an addict. If it was out there, it could be touched. I was going to touch it. I had to touch it. I had to feel it. I had to do all the things. And I ended up getting off drugs and I end up, kind of settling down, getting married. And I always, one of the things, like when I was out and about, I always would give myself away. I was overweight. I never felt like I was really good enough. And I was like, if I could either buy your love, sleep with you, whatever I could do, what if I
Hmm.
could just be a people pleasing, would you like me enough? Whatever, at the cost of it, didn't matter what
Yeah.
was for me. And I end up marrying. I mean, there's a lot of chapters I'm leaving out, but just for
Oh, no,
time.
you might as well go there because, I
Well,
mean, if you feel like it, because we're going to probably end up with a second episode with you because I know enough about all the chapters of your life that there's a lot of people who listen to this show that have been through similar things and struggle with similar things that you struggled with. So the goal, right, is, God wants to help everybody. So it's your moment. So don't have to
yeah.
skip through anything.
Well, I definitely, like you heard me say, I was out there just trying to find love in any
Mhm.
way I could get it. Um, and there was a lot of dating in between all that time. And I'd quit drugs and met this guy, really real good looking cowboy. I And I was like, gosh, I'm moving away. I'm like, my plan was to move to Florida, but and to hit Dallas in between Florida. Um, and I ended up going to a going away party and I met this really good looking cowboy, like I said. And I was like, gosh, he is so cute. Well, long story short, I ended up staying here in Wichita Falls. I got pregnant. And I don't want to speak bad about this man because he is the father of my kids and I
Mm-hmm.
love him. I love him as he has my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But he was everything that I was trying to get away from that my mom had married.
Okay. So,
Um,
so,
he
so
was an
that, so
alcoholic.
that upbringing, that lack of love that you felt when you were growing up was
Yeah,
what you were chasing, and he mirrored it for you.
he mirrored it. Sometimes they say the thing that we don't like or the way that we grew up and we might not like it, we tend to gravitate towards it, especially
Mm-hmm.
if we don't have any self-development. And at this point, I won't say how old I was, but we'll just say at that point, there wasn't self-development running around like it is, it's prevalent here today.
Yeah.
And so I end up marrying him and I remember like it was just flashback of exactly what my mom went back or did and that I would never do it. And one of the things was my mom used to go look for my stepdad at the bar and she would put me, I'd get in the back seat and we'd go like frantically look for him.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll pick up things now that I've been in self-development for so long. Or I don't really like the word self-development. I think because it's all about self. Like I
Yeah.
like God
You've
development. How
been
about that?
growing. You've been growing, girl.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, I look back and I'm like, I I was picking up on my mom's energy, like the stuff, the
Mm-hmm.
panic, where is he?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would fight. Well, fast forward, with me having my kids, I put them in the thing I said I would never do. I caught myself doing it. I put them in the back seat
Mm-hmm.
rode around frantically looking for him. And when I did, I'd, want to fight. Like, why don't you come home? Like all that stuff. And there were some
Yeah.
nights I never found him. And it led me into this insecurity of what is he doing? And I made up stories. I don't know about you, but I can make up some
Oh,
crazy
girl. Oh,
stories.
girl. I'm the best. I'm the best with things in
Oh,
my
uh,
head. Yeah.
like he was having
Hmm.
sex with Playboy bunnies. I mean, the
Yeah.
thing. Like there was
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
girls on. I mean, who knows? He was probably just really hanging around with his buddies, drinking and smoking. But
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, oh, the dude is like got these gorgeous girls hanging all over him, and I'm at home with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, it just led to a lot of stuff. And at that point, I had gained 300 pounds. You heard me say I was always a little bit overweight, but at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I was at 300 pounds. And I ended up going, okay, I can't live like this. I'm not going to do this. So I had, I had my business. I own a spa and salon at this point. I had a
Okay.
nonprofit for kids. I don't want to sound braggadocious, but known in
No,
my
you were performing your way into
yes. And
love.
so
Yeah.
I remember praying. I was like, I want to find a way to lose weight, because I thought that was going to solve all the problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had, since I was kind of known in the town, we had a surgeon who was looking for a female that was overweight that didn't mind being on TV. That's kind of narrow because they were going to perform a gastric bypass for free if I would go on a journey and let my journey be open to people.
Wow.
So I end up doing this. This was 20 something years ago, probably 25 years ago. So I ended up doing that. And with that was a lot of attention
Yeah.
that came my way. And
Yeah.
I remember there was somebody who had come into my spa and salon and paid me a lot of attention. My husband was not coming home,
Mm.
and I found myself in an affair. And I had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt about that. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, why are you doing this?
Did you have any idea back then what it was you were looking for in that moment? Do you have any idea?
Love.
Yeah, you were just
I
looking
didn't
for
know
someone
then.
to make you feel good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have been in all types of relationships.
Oh, me
Um,
too. I did it
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Hmm.
crazy. Just I look back and I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, train wreck. But I end up having an affair with this man, and gosh, it sounds crazy. I haven't visited this in a while, but he was an alcoholic
Hmm.
as well. So I
Hmm.
had two I was tending to, and I was like, this is so dumb. Like, why are you doing this? Um, and I had a friend that um, at this time, I not only was owning the spa and salon and the nonprofit, but I also was flipping houses. I love real estate.
Mm,
My ex-husband and I would, he's an ex-husband now, we would flip these homes together.
hmm.
And I remember I was just in so deep with work and all the things, trying to basically, it seemed like keep two marriages up to alcoholics, raise two kids.
Yeah,
I
you were
mean,
performing at every turn,
I
every
was.
turn. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a friend of mine. She came to me. She lives out of town and she lives in Abilene, kind of close to a place called Buffalo Gap. She said, I think you need to go away to this place in Buffalo Gap. It was called Shades of Hope. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. She's like, you'll just be gone 6 days. They have 6 days and they have full rides
Hmm.
that you can go in for six
Were
years.
you drinking or using at this time?
No, I would
Okay.
drink some, but
Yeah.
no, mine was still, even though I had lost a lot of weight, I
Hmm.
still had an addictive personality. So I
Yeah.
put more of it into work, more of it into shopping, things like
Mhm.
that. Still didn't know how to eat. Just because I had gastric, didn't know I
Right.
still was
Right.
homeless.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of things that you couldn't eat, right? I mean, you get
Yeah,
gastric done and your tummy's tiny. Like, what do
right.
you? Yeah.
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 So she said, I think you need to go away to this place. And long story short, um, and I feel like I'm supposed to say this because it's just weird how God works. I
Mhm.
think I think I heard it on your podcast that it was yours. It was I forget who it was. He was an alcoholic and he
Oh,
went up to
John Wentworth. John Wentworth.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
when he showed the guy, he was talking about the place in Tennessee, the rehab place.
Yes. Yes.
And as like Ed Milet's like, if that's not a sign, dude.
Yeah.
And so what had happened, I was thinking about my friend saying that about going to the place. I didn't know it was a rehab place at the time. And
Hmm.
when she was talking about it, I just happened to be watching TLC and I saw a show. Her name was Ruby. She was an overweight woman. And there was
Hmm.
this lady that had helped her lose this weight that owned a rehab facility. Well, wouldn't you know at the end, come to find out it was the same place they were trying to get me to go.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's in the same week, and it's
Wow.
like the Ed Milet moment to go, "Dude,
Yeah.
it's a sign, right?" And I
Yeah.
knew Jesus, but I didn't know Jesus at this point. Like I knew
Okay.
God, and I was,
So you knew God may have had a hand in kind of what was going on at that
yeah.
time, or you didn't have that awareness yet.
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
mean, I'm like, okay, God. I mean, I would
Mhm.
sling God around. I would Bible bingo. I would do,
You would sling God around.
yeah. I
Bible
mean,
bingo. Love it.
I wasn't who I am now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went ahead and I signed up for this. I went 6 days, and she ended up telling me her name is Tenny. She ended up the time I was there. Um, she told me she said, I think you need to stay a full like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? And she said, you're the worst case of codependency I've ever seen in my life. And I've been doing this a
Wow.
long time. And hence now that I'm finding out about this, hence why I would buy love and do the things. And
Well, you
so
were taught that from a very young age. I mean, not only did you become that way because you didn't receive the love that you needed, but you also had that as an example for you because your mom
yes,
was fiercely codependent with your stepdad. Yeah.
yes.
So it was totally
And
modeled
so
for you. That was normal for you, Dawn.
right, it was normal. So when she's
Yeah.
talking codependency, I'm like, what? Which I did stay 6 days and I didn't stay the 6 months because she said,
Mhm.
I don't think you have what it takes to go break up with the boy that you're with and work on your marriage. And I later on, fast forward, we become really good friends, the counselor
Mhm.
and I, as
Mhm.
time passed. And she knew that when she told me that with just the way my brain worked, she knew I'd go home and do it. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I went
Yeah.
home, I took everything and I said, we're done. And I never looked back. Worked on my marriage and it just, one person can go to something. It's like we can go to events and then we come home, and if our spouse hasn't gone through it, it's harder, right? So there just wasn't that change agent in him at that moment.
Mhm.
So I had decided it was time for a divorce. Took me a really long time because that codependency wanted to hang on, and I didn't
Mhm.
want to hurt his feelings. And where will he go, and what will happen? And
Yeah.
you know, um, I had started dating other people and I had met, well, I had met a guy, and here's where God starts to come and play.
Mhm.
After our divorce was finally final, my lawyer clapped because she's like, it took you so long.
Yeah.
And I met a guy, I did exactly what I knew to do, like exactly what Dawn knew to do. She knew to go look at a bar and go find someone because I was thinner, I was younger, and I had looks, and I used those for that negative attention.
Mm.
I started dating a younger guy. I always
Hmm.
liked him younger, not like real young. I'm talking like a difference of like
Yeah.
8 years or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah.
It proved to me that I could do it, that I was
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I ended up getting pregnant from him. And when I had my second, the doctor said, I don't think you should have any more kids. And they told me, they're like, you are going to have to abort this kid. There's no way. Like, you just can't have another child because you have a lot of scar tissue, you have a lot of issues.
Mm.
So after visiting specialist, I end up seeing my lawyer because I was like, I don't want to have an abortion. That wasn't like what I believed in. It's not what
So
I
the
wanted to do.
doctors told you that you had to do that? Like they didn't give
Yeah.
you an option?
Well, I went to, several different, oh, I say several. I went to four. And one
Okay.
said, I've been doing
That's
this for,
several. Yeah.
yeah, and one said, I've been doing this for 40 years. And I just suggest that with everything you have going on, scar tissue and, all the things, I'm going to suggest it'd be the healthiest for you because you have two other kids who need you. So it was the darkest decision I have ever made in my life, especially I had a nonprofit
Well,
as
and you
well.
felt like it wasn't your decision.
Right. What would people think? Not only like I would be, I don't, I'm, for lack of a better word, of getting rid of my child. And I love children because they
Yeah.
said I might not ever have them. And
Yeah.
God had already blessed me with two wonderful children. But I'll just say I end up making the decision and I did it. And
Hmm.
it was the darkest day of my life.
I bet.
And I said, okay, God, if you are who you say you are, I picked up the Bible and I was like, I never was great at reading and comprehending. But if you are who you say you are, I need you. I'm desperate for you.
Mm.
Like desperate.
Mm.
And he'll do it, won't he? Like I opened up that Bible and I was like, oh my goodness.
Did you just open to a random spot?
I just random,
Yeah.
I mean, I sometimes, and I still will do it. I was just Bible bingoing. But what I was reading, he was just, I always say when you pick up the Bible, it's like Jesus will hug you. He
Yeah.
just hugs you.
Yeah.
Um, and so with that, I was like, I still was looking for something worldly and I needed something. And I end up going to a Tony Robbins event.
Mm.
If everybody knows Tony Robbins, he's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I show up there in San Jose in California and do my first fire walk, God had a plan. And so for 10 years, I crewed for Tony Robbins. And what that means is I showed up and I worked his events and I worked him all the way up until really 2020. And I just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
was
have.
gonna say I remember when we first met, you weren't long from doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, but I love development. I mean, I just love it. And I stayed in it. But in that, I felt kind of in the middle of that, I felt God saying, you have a gift of speaking. I've given
Mm-hmm.
you this gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, God, what does that look like? And I mean, I used to be so insecure, I wouldn't even call and order a pizza because I thought on the other end, what would people think?
Oh
Just
God.
silly, so silly. So I was like, why? Started asking myself really good questions. And I said, why did a baby die? And the answer that I got was because you didn't know you were good enough. And you gave yourself away to anyone and everyone who would show you a little attention. And that might not be that I just slept with them, but I purchased things. I lent out my car. There were so many things that I did just because I was craving just somebody love me. Like, can
Yeah.
somebody see me,
Yeah.
love me? And at this point, I didn't know I needed to look inward.
No, and at this point you didn't know that God already did.
Yes. And
Mm.
so the more I stayed in Tony Robbins and God, the more, events I would go to that were not just Tony. I joined national speaking associations, which I met Sean Stevenson. Sean Stevenson was like a 3 foot giant, little 3, 4 foot giant that was in a wheelchair. And he passed, not real long ago, but he brought me in. When I tell you amazing, I saw so many amazing speakers while I was in National Speaking Association, but Sean, when he wheeled out,
Mm.
just he captivated the audience, and I was like, that's who I want to learn from. God, I
Mhm.
want to learn. I want you to use me. And so it took me, it was a lot of learning. You heard me say I wouldn't even order a pizza. So I had to really get into that craft. I had to really start believing in myself. And, the more I got closer with God, the more my message morphed, because I was like, you're not just enough on your own. Like, through Jesus, you're enough. And with that, I really learned that and it just as ever evolving. There for a while I used to just say, you're enough how you are. Like, you're just enough. Like, you're enough, and just loving people. You're just enough. You know what? Stay in your crappy relationship, stay in your crappy body, stay in all the crappiness, all the yuck, right? Because I heard, I did some work with Bob Proctor, one of his top salespeople, not real long ago, and I was in something of theirs, like we would do calls every week. And I heard him say this. His name was Todd Bowerly. I love him. He said, Dawn, I think sometimes we get in a big warm pile of crap and we
On a
climb.
roll
It's just
around.
so warm.
Mhm.
And we don't want to get out
Comfort.
to go shower off because we know it would be better. And that
Mhm.
I did that for so long with body, with all the things. And I bet somebody listening right now is in a big mushy pile of crap that's warm and they just don't want to crawl out
Mhm.
of it. But my message that I tell people about being enough is, you are worthy to get up and be the best version of you.
Yeah.
And I am like tally transparent. Like, I mean, that's the girl, that's the face I'm going to put on for this moment right now, is for a long time. And I think that's why I trademarked the word you're enough. And I really feel that sometimes I didn't take off the way God intended for me to, because I was still over here playing small because I didn't know I was good enough. And I
Mhm.
think and every year I tend to evolve in it, to know
Yeah.
I'm more than worthy, because we're really actually more than enough, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are.
And the
And
way yes, we were created to be more than enough.
yeah. And
Mhm.
so I just stayed in this crappy body, but I believed in myself, but I wasn't doing much about it. I mean, come on, you got to think. I'm showing up for the world's best, Tony Robbins. I'm showing up
Mhm.
at Evolve. Let me tell
Mhm.
you about what I used to feel about Evolve. No, I mean, not Evolve. Evolve was like my
Tony
baby
Robbins. Yeah.
through
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But showing up at Arte.
Yeah.
Arte is predominantly extremely in shape men.
Mhm.
And what women are there are pretty friggin' amazing. I mean, these are powerhouses, but I kept showing up. I paid my money. I showed up. I traveled. And it wasn't easy showing up to be like close to 200 pounds in that arena. But I believed in myself and I knew I wanted more
Why? Okay, so let's dig into that a little bit. So, why did you feel not enough in that arena?
because I knew I wasn't living up to the very best that I could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to get at, because I think there's a lot of people who will listen to this too that are showing up in that way in their life, and they feel guilt and shame and they think it's tied to how they look. But in the end of the day, it's not tied to how you look. It's 100% tied to the commitment you make to yourself and whether or not you're living up to that.
Yeah, I've almost reached my goal of the scale, if we want to say it, and
Yeah.
nothing changes if nothing changes in here. But I always thought it would solve everything, and we'll get to that in just a second. But my thing was, I knew I wasn't showing up the best that I could because I knew that I was zigging and zagging too much. I would do healthy because I wanted more, I wanted to be better, but then there was like this piece of me that I'm like, you're still over here not giving everything you could. Like,
Mhm.
I would sometimes halfway do 75 hard, like quit, like when it was really cold. I remember one time I took a heater out on my back porch. I'm like, you're
Mhm.
defeating the
Mhm.
purpose. Like,
Mhm.
you got to start over. And so, and I think that if you do that, you'll do that with a lot of things. You'll take a lot of shortcuts in life. You'll do a lot of things. And so I knew I always wanted more. And it has been a process to get there and to do the thing. And so really I've evolved a lot what I've had going on. And I guess that, because I know we don't have a lot of time, but to catch up to what has changed in this last year for me. Because if you keep praying about it and you won't do anything, because God's like, you're going to have to move, girl. Like, you're going to have to do it.
God
But
wants action. He wants action.
Please,
Hmm.
God, can you get me at please, like, I want to be at
Hmm.
my way. I want to be this. I want to do that. Use me, God. All the things. I could have won an Academy Award for it. And so just one day, like a year ago, this has been almost a year. Like I was getting established with a doctor because I was like, I had been to your evolves and I love them. And, I never could figure out like I've like I said, zig and zag, and I look back on food and stuff that I could have done better. But I wasn't feeling great like these last couple of years, couldn't figure it out. And I was like, oh, it's your food, it's this or that. And I just was getting established with a doctor a year ago, and they're like, you have a heart murmur. I was like, oh, I've had one forever, like no big deal. And come to find out, when she said I want to do testing, they're like, you're going to need open heart surgery. And I'm like, what? Like I'm a single
I
mom. And
remember when you
one thing,
told me
oh my
that.
gosh, I
Yeah.
left out. Yeah, I left out something huge that I got to go back to because you're going to be like 3 kids. I didn't hear that. God will give us a second chance. I end up meeting someone, and I was with him for 13 years, and I had a baby at 45, if you can believe
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So I do have 3 kids. And I said, I'll die having this one. And it was my healthiest pregnancy ever.
I was
So
gonna say, and you didn't, and it's all that's what was supposed to happen.
yeah, I didn't want to leave that out. So now I'll go back because I left you on a cliffhanger right there with the open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I have 3 kids, goodness, this is going to be like, this sucks. And I know somebody listening is probably, I know it. I know there's somebody listening because God's already told me when I was praying about this podcast, somebody's in something hard right now.
Mm.
We're all battling something, but somebody's in something hard. And I feel like it's health wise. And you just got to go through it. You got to ask God to go through it with you because I remember showing up at UT Southwestern going, I'm about to have heart surgery. But I was scared, but I also knew God was right there.
Mm.
Freak out. It was a freak out moment. And the open heart surgery wasn't so bad. I just had a little bitty, they cut you right here. It was a valve replacement is what they were doing. And it was something that I was like, I think my doctor knew he's like one of the best in the United States, if you can believe this, for valve replacements. And I think he knew that I was putting a lot of, I was being really hard on myself because I thought it
Yeah.
was because I was overweight. I was like, it's because you're fat. It's because of the things you've eaten and the choices you've made. And he ended up telling my family, I didn't know this till afterwards. He's like, she was born with it. And who knew? Had she not, I feel like I want to cry. Had she, because this is my first podcast to do, this is my first
Yeah.
anything to
Yeah.
do after the whole thing. But had she not gone to the doctor, that doctor and I, when I was getting established, we're talking about Jesus, and that's unusual in a doctor's office.
Mm.
Had he not been present in that room, the Holy Spirit, I don't know that she would have been triggered to do a test. And the surgeon said you'd have been dead in 2 years. Yeah, if not found. So, anyways, the heart surgery wasn't that bad, but they gave me medication that I couldn't have. They gave me aspirin, and I should have known, but I was kind of out of it. And I ended up being back in the hospital. I come home, everything was pretty good. I wasn't feeling good on that Sunday. Come home on a Friday, wasn't feeling good on a Saturday or Sunday, and I was throwing up blood. Thank gosh, my
Mm.
daughter had just come home. They called the ambulance. I ended up back in the hospital for 2 days. But with that, there were so many things that come. My iron dropped so low. I almost needed a blood transfusion, and it started messing with my head. It's like my head was, I cannot explain it. It took me a long time to come back from it. They had me on Plavix, and I ended up, I wasn't sleeping. There were weeks at a time I wouldn't sleep. I begged God if he would let me sleep.
Wow.
Um, I'd put a lot of pressure on my teeth, my front teeth, and I was on Plavix. So it loosened my teeth, my four front teeth for uh October to March. And they kept telling me they'd grow back, but I couldn't really talk. I feel like I'm really going to cry because it sucked. It
Oh,
sucked so much
I
because
bet.
I love to talk. And I
Yeah.
was like, God, I'm a speaker. You took my tongue away. Like I can't talk. And it was so scary. Meanwhile, you can never have any infection in your teeth with a heart valve.
Yeah.
You have to have
Yes.
it again.
Yes.
So I allowed that enemy to put like
Oh,
things in my head. I am not meaning to cry. I'm trying to hold it
you
together. But
cry, girl. It's okay. You
yeah,
cry. You won't be the first one who's cried on here. Now you know that.
so finally, my dentist, because they were like, they're going to get strengthened. And they're like, but the problem is, we're going to probably have to do some work and we're going to loosen them again. And I'm like, I can't keep going through this. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah.
He sent me to a surgeon. He's one of the best in Texas. He was, and he said, I'm going to send you to him for TMJ. And he sent me to him. But the crazy part was the dentist or the surgeon said, I can't get past the loose teeth, much less TMJ. Like, what do we got to do? And he said, how do you feel about doing the implants?
Hmm.
So he ended up fast forwarding. He did them the March 30th. And I've had to do it was a lot of healing. I'm about to get my last ones. So there was a lot of pain and things that went on. And he's like, and I would get in my head and he's like, Dawn, you're just gonna have to calm down and like trust God. Like you just,
Hmm.
so I'm just now getting back into the game of it all. I still, I'm not naming and claiming this is still healing over here, but when you had asked me to do it the other day, I was like, you're just going to go for it, girl. Even if you're
Dawn,
listening.
you are so strong. And it's funny. I've seen, and you've probably seen it too, the videos that they show about eagles and what eagles go through when they get old, and they have to essentially take their beak off in order to continue their aging process, or they die because they can't eat. Um, you are one of the most beautiful human beings and so strong, like so strong. The things that you have been through in life, and even just the few things you've shared on this podcast, and there's more. I mean, there's way more than what you shared here. And God is just wanting you to finally be that person to give everybody else hope. And you've
Yes.
done that in different parts in your life, but
Yeah.
you are hope. You are
Yeah.
100% hope.
I think so.
Yeah.
During all of it, I just would be like Mark 5:3-4.
Mm.
That is, daughter, because of your faith, you have healed. Go in peace and suffer no more. I said it over and over and over. And I was like, God, put me back in the game. Like, give me a chance. Give my voice back. Like, let me be able to communicate with my kids. Angela, it was things I took for granted. I couldn't. I drive a big old F2, a big old
Yeah.
black F-250.
Hmm.
I'm in Texas. I have a nonprofit for kids. I haul a lot of stuff around, and I had pulled something right after surgery, and I couldn't even drive, and so I ended up having to use my daughter's car, and I was like, there was so many things stripped from me, but my voice was huge. And at this point, I'm eating right, I'm doing the thing, I'm almost at goal. People tell me all the time, like, you're really tiny. It freaked me out for a while when people would say it. But I
Mm.
was like, well, don't do it the way I had to do it. But it's like God was getting my attention. And what I
Yeah.
feel like I know that He's promised me a long life. And He's like, I'm going to turn things around. And only way, the only way you're going to have people know that it worked out for you is through me.
Hmm.
Like, and you want to talk about being enough through Jesus, like through Him, that is the only way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
The
just got
only way.
full body chills when you said that. And it's 100% true. Your your testimony and everything that you have been through, there are so many that will be inspired by it and that will get up and say, if God did it for her, he'll do it for me too.
So, you're right. I was listening to Ed Milet. I went to the Metroplex the other day, and one of my friends said, "Hey, I'm going to send you this podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of him." And it was Ed. It's kind of cool.
He
But you know
laughed.
what? It got me back into the game of listening and stuff because for the last year, that is, I've just been focusing on healing.
Mhm.
And so thank you, Jesus. I just want to say that out loud and to other people. Like, thank you, Jesus, for healing me and that he gets all the glory. But listening to Ed, I had not realized I missed that somewhere that Ed had heart issues.
He's had them for his whole life, but they've been bad the last couple of years. Yeah.
Yes, and I had missed that. And I had a little bit of a belief that I was like, well, that's a lie of going, you had a heart valve replacement. My cardiologist is like, you want that, like you versus maybe a heart attack. And you're trying to sit over here and be so freaked out that you are afraid to lift weights or you're afraid to do. And I'm like, man, I listened to Ed the other day. If you can do it, Ed, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just waiting for that person. If you can do it, Dawn, I can do it.
Yes, yes, it's already happening. You just don't realize it.
Yeah,
Maybe you
and
just don't know it yet.
right. I truly believe that all of us are put here on this earth because I've had a lot of people ask me some questions about this lately. I was like, no, I think we're put here on this earth to go through stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to get over it, figure it out a way. You got to figure out a way to get over
Help
it,
each
what
other.
works for you. And then he'll put those people on our path
Mm-hmm.
and we are here and it just evolves to use your
Yeah,
title.
yeah.
It evolves us and that's been my last year. I'm like, God, please put me back in the game. And so, y'all, everybody listening, you do not know how thrilled I am to just be here, to be able to talk and to share and quit being, don't be afraid of things you're going to
Mm-mm.
walk through. We're all going to walk through it,
Yep, that's right.
but we walk through it together.
I love you so much. I
I
love
love
you so
you.
much. I just have to tell you that before we're going to shift over to the questions I asked at the end of the podcast, but
Yeah.
I just want you to understand how much I'm so proud of you in mustering that strength day after day because I know how hard it is, and I know the mind games you play because I've been in those situations in my life also, and I'm so proud of you for never losing sight of who was with you the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Thank you. And
So
you
good.
too, like you talk about evolving.
Oh
I,
yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, when
we
you and I
first
first
met.
met, I was like, who's this Dawn lady keeps talking about God and Jesus?
I remember there was a time that I remember I was like, I think you just made her uncomfortable. So it's just so awesome to see how he's worked in your life and Matt's as well and your children, how he's just stitched
Uh-huh.
little by little. And when you told me you were doing the podcast, I was like, he knew. Like I just
Yeah.
had to smile. He knew the plans he had for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a beautiful journey. It's been a beautiful journey. All right. So I want to ask you, because as you know, people who listen to the show are some of them are early in their faith walk, or maybe they're hearing things and they really need to feel closer to God right now. What is something that you've either read or absorbed, listened to that really makes you feel closer to God, aside from the Bible? So something, obviously the Bible does that, but something else that helps you with that.
And I'm sure many people have told you Jesus Calling is really great. I
The
love
first
Jesus.
time.
Jesus Calling is a great devotional to go along with the Bible, and it never fails. Like you, seems like when you pick it up, you'll because it's on like a day to day. It's
Hmm.
like August 4th. You would look and go, "Oh, okay,
Hmm.
wow. Oh, I need
Hmm.
to go look at August 4th. I'm gonna write that down. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
write
home
that
on
down.
August
August
4th,
4th
right?
must be an important one.
There must be a message for me or somebody that's listening today that needs that. But just it kind of it's always on point. It seems.
Hmm. Jesus calling. Okay.
Jesus Calling is a really good one. I mean, I've got a plethora of them, but that's a good one.
That's awesome. Okay, great. Um, so I know today, while we have had this conversation, like I've had some spirit moments, right, where I have felt literally your words will make me feel the spirit inside me, which is such an awesome feeling. For you, when you're in connection with spirit, when you know God is there and you feel spirit inside you, what does that feel like for you physically?
I do a lot of street ministry.
Hmm.
And we call on the Holy Spirit. I do a lot of Matthew 18, where two or more gather. Um, you just feel that peace. Like he's there and he's wanting to be there and he's a gentleman, right? He's just waiting for you to welcome him and just feel that peace. If you're going through something right now, like Jesus, take the stick, like take the jab for me, take it. And he will. It's comforting. If I had to say it in one
Yeah.
word, it's peaceful, comforting.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. All right. And lastly, Dawn, as that small girl who was sitting in the back seat with your mom going through what she went through, now that you've been through this journey, like what would you offer yourself, that little girl who was in the back seat? What would you tell her now to make sure that she doesn't give up?
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just to say that you are worthy and you're loved, and don't waste all the good days that God has given you just thinking that you're not good enough and that you don't measure up, that you don't matter. Like don't waste your days because yeah,
I love that.
you're enough. Yeah.
You're enough. You're enough. And he's there and he loves you. And even in those moments where you don't know he's there or you can't feel it or you don't understand, he is there. So just do your best to try to sit in it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you would like to share with the audience before we sign off for today? This has gone by so fast, which I knew it would because you're amazing and yeah. So is there anything else?
Somebody's about to knock at my door. That's why I'm like, if you look down, I told you I'm totally transparent. I'm like, don't knock on it's my son. Don't knock on my office door. I do want to say something. There's somebody out there that is listening right now. Not that I'm Cleo with a crystal ball, but I feel led that somebody out there is suffering right now. Somebody is needing something. You're going through something dark and you haven't really told hardly anybody about it. And I just want to remind you that you're going to be okay. That in the end, everything is going to be okay. Everything. Everything, no matter what, no matter how dark it is, no matter how bad it feels. It's like, this is what I felt this last year is God answered a prayer through everything I've been through this year because he's now like, you watch what I'm about to do. And so it's kind of like I felt so many times like I was just there was like this hole dug up. I was a seed. I got thrown down in this dark hole. I got buried up and I was like so afraid and all the things. And then here comes spring and summer. And I just want to remind somebody, if you're in that dark space, you just hold on a minute. You give it to God. He will see you through everything. Everything.
What did you do for yourself in those moments last year?
I would pray. I would go search for somebody to, like, if I had to go online, I found a lot of people that I followed online that just gave me a little bit of hope. I couldn't really talk a lot. So that was crazy all in itself, but just go into the Bible. And I didn't have comprehension for some reason. I don't know really what that was, low iron, I don't know why I didn't for so long. I don't know that that's
He was giving you space to heal.
Yeah.
You wouldn't heal yourself. You'd be up in the middle of everything else if he didn't force you.
Probably. And so I would go to the Bible. I didn't always comprehend it like I wanted to, but I would go to the Bible and it really helped me. Even if I was playing Bible bingo, just getting close to him and staying there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Dawn, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh,
see, everybody, I told you would love her. She's amazing.
Oh,
just amazing. That's right. That's exactly right.
You're enough. Through Jesus, you're enough.
That's right. Well, Dawn, thank you so much for being on today. Listeners, thank you so much for listening to this episode with Evolve Through God, and we'll catch you on the next episode.